Hey y'all, it's your girl Stephanie. This is Wrestling Color Podcast right here on YouTube. Make sure you thumbs up the video. Hit that thumbs up for me, please. Go ahead and hit that subscription button. That's a little bit more important than the thumbs up. Turn on the bell for notifications if you're interested in keeping up with me like that. Follow me on Instagram and Pinterest. Those are the social media platforms that I'm active on. Also, I've been posting shorts. And if you are interested, you can go check those shorts out. A little nostalgia that I just found, floating around my social media. And I like the YouTube shorts. I think it's fun and quick. And you go and look at something and keep it moving. Also in those shorts is the name of my TikTok, which is Intergalactic Juggernaut. Where I got that name from, I was listening to Mike Tyson's podcast and he was going on and on and he said something like Intergalactic Juggernaut, and I was like, who puts those two words together? I don't know if I told y'all this story before, but I'm getting old, so I repeat stuff. Anyway, let's dive into this. So I was on Instagram and a video came up of Kurt Angle and Sharmell. And I'm listen, 90s, I can't tell you like I remember it like that, but a lot of stuff was going on in the 90s and I just didn't remember this storyline in particular. So it was a clip came up of Kurt Angle in an angle with Booker T and his wife Sharmell, who, by the way, is super pretty. She's such a pretty woman. And Booker T has always been handsome, even though I don't agree with most of the shit that comes out of his mouth. Anyway, so they have this match. It was like hypersexual, rape undertones. Like, it was hardcore. So I said, let me go and look at what was going on at this time, because this is absolutely ridiculous. Somebody was like, in the comments, ain't no big deal, y'all sensitive. So let me read you this exchange that somebody decided that they was going to have. I wasn't trying to start no trouble, but it was just what the guy was saying was so ridiculous, and saying the shit out loud, it just reminds me of like, these are the type of people that are in the wrestling quote unquote community. So under that post it said, no wonder why Vince is selling WWE these days. Too many restrictions and society is too damn soft. You can't reproduce this level of quality heel work, fam. Otherwise, you'll be offending someone. I said, so you need to see a rape simulation. Got it. That's what I said. And I don't know why he said that, because he said, ma'am, no one forces you to watch, even if I do. So what? I said, and the way you're watching it, there's clearly a sickness. He said, even if I do, ma'am, you gonna do about it besides ranting, ha ha ha, focus on your own life. I said, I'm not going to do anything. There are perverted people all over, and it's good that you put it out there for everyone to see. Then somebody said, I literally just proved this point. All I said was, who gets excited over a rape angle? Then somebody was like, why are you watching if it affects you? I think you're perverted. You know how people try to flip the argument because they look stupid. He goes on to say, millions of people watch this episode. This was just part of the story. Don't try to twist it. It wasn't rape. These are just actors making a show. I didn't say it was rape. I said it was a rape simulation. And if you see the pose that he put Sharmell in when he pinned her, he had her legs all up in the air. He was licking at her, grinding his hips. He was doing all kinds of crazy shit. Meanwhile, she's screaming at the top of her lungs, no, stop, don't do that. Somebody responded to me, but I guess they got erased because they agree with me. They basically said, it's sick that this is even being applauded. It wasn't applauded then and it wasn't applauded now. I said, that's all I'm saying. And then they told him, somebody said, you could tell you don't got no woman. And I said, you know what? Whatever. The fact that was, some people celebrated that angle really, says a lot about the community as usual. They want the worst. But I went to go see what Kurt Angle had to say about it. And this is some interesting shit. So listen to this.
Situation. Vince McMahon came up with an idea to have me stalk Sharmell, to talk about having animalistic sex with her. was a tough program, probably my toughest, but because Booker and Sharmell are such team players, I felt a little more comfortable. I mean, it's, you know, when you have all the respect in the world for a guy, a wrestler that's had so much success, and to do the things I had to do with his wife or to his wife, it's hard. But Booker and Sharmell made it easy, and they understood what we were trying to accomplish, and they were the baby faces, I was the heel, so they were the victims and I was the culprit, and they did an excellent job. Our matches were incredible. Unfortunately, one match there was a mishap. There was a pinfall when it shouldn't have happened, and Booker and I were upset because that match would have been one of the greatest matches of all time. It was a 5-star match, and we probably had 12 minutes left in that match, and it got cut short. Unfortunately, that happens in the business. You have to forget it and move on. But it was a tough pill to swallow because Booker and I knew how good that match could have been. And unfortunately, we weren't able to do it again because the program ended. Booker beat me twice, 2 in a row. There wasn't a third match. So unfortunately, Booker and I never got to have the third match. And unfortunately, Booker and I didn't have that 5-star match we wanted because it ended shortly. Working with Booker was incredible because he had a philosophy and a psychology that no other person has.
So essentially, what we have is Vince McMahon coming up with this stalker angle. And I was listening to Kurt Cutler promo, which I'm going to play. And the bestiality of it all. He's stalking Sharmell, who I guess is a beautiful woman. And he was like, I want to have sex with her, like, so bad. Like, I want to do just all kinds of freaky things to her. Like, I want to just, like, fuck her like an animal. And it's like, what the fuck where did Vince come up with this?
So out of place and unusual for your character. Were you hesitant about it before agreeing to go along with it? Now, I know on past episodes of the Kurt Angle Show, you have talked about this. And you did say that you weren't totally comfortable with this. So where did the idea come from and how did it evolve?
I have no idea where the idea came from. I think that Vince McMahon, Vince is kind of a ribber. He'll do stuff to mess with you a little bit and to kind of, shove it in your face. And I think that he thought I had this fetish for black women.
Really?
I like all women. White, black, Hispanic, it doesn't matter. My wife is half Hispanic, half Italian. And, so I think Vince thought I had this fetish for black women, and he thought it'd be a funny program, and I was not comfortable by any means. I had so much respect for Booker T and Sharmell. To do that and pretend I was stalking his wife, it was the worst angle I've ever done.
Now, Vince McMahon thought that Kurt Angle had a fetish for black women. I would like to know where that thought process came from. Now, if you remember, Kurt Angle dated Ra Khan, I believe her name. She was a black wrestler. I actually did a Where Are They Now about her maybe a year or two ago, and if you go back into my Instagram, she responded and said she's okay. She had brought a case against him in 2009. It was dismissed, but she said he was punching her in her face, making her have sex with him, threatening to take her job if she left him. Like, they were in a couple, and it was volatile, whatever the case may be. And I guess Vince must have remembered that. And of course, if you let Vince tell it, wanting to have sex with a black woman was like wanting to be bestiality, because this is Kurt Angle's one of his promos backstage that I was like, what the fuck?
And the thing is, I wasn't gonna hurt Sharmell. I don't hurt women. I make them feel good.
Oh my God.
See, Josh, we all have our vices. Mine just happens to be gutter. Like Booker T's.
Hold on. He said his vice is gutter shit. like Booker T's wife. Okay, that's what he said. He said his vice is gutter shit like Booker T's wife. Let's continue.
I probably have some psychological disorder. I don't know.
He got a psychological disorder because he's turned on by Booker T's wife. Okay.
Go ahead and say this.
Here you go.
Booker, I want... I don't know if I can. All right. What I want to say is, Booker, I want to have... All right. I'm going to say this. I'm just going to say it. Booker, I want to have sex with your wife. And I'm not just talking any kind of sex with your wife. No. I'm talking, you know, that kind of bestiality sex with your wife. You know, what I want with your wife, Charnel, I want to have that kind of perverted sex.
Kurt Angle in this clip tried everything in his power not to bust out laughing. First of all, I don't know who wrote. He didn't come up with this. Vince McMahon wrote that for him because we all know he don't let them freestyle nothing. Vince McMahon wrote for Kurt Angle to say that he wanted to have bestiality sex, the most perverted sex he can think of, with Booker T's beautiful wife Sharmell. And I just, you know what, I wouldn't have remembered this because this was like in the 90s. I was either just turned a teenager in 95 or a teenager in and out of wrestling. So I probably would have missed this angle because, like, to see this now, I always say I have absolutely no fucking idea how this made it to TV. But remember, WWE used to be on Sci-Fi. It was on fucking country music. Was it the Country Music Network? CMT at one point. It was on G4 TV. Like, WWE was on all over the place doing all kinds of shit. So I'm not really shocked by this, but I'm also just more so disgusted. And the fact that people in the comments like, oh yeah, you know, you can't do that no more because they, you know, everybody's so sensitive. It's really gross. It almost harkens back to, I'm not gonna mention it, where a time where you could do perverse things with certain people and, you know, no one would care, and the words that are being used, and it's giving colonizers soft porn. I wanna do fuck shit with this black bitch and bestiality her because I have to have psychological damage because I'm turned on by this woman. That's essentially what he said. What do y'all think? Kurt, you know, he's honest as sincere. I believe him. He looks like he just looked when he was saying that he felt awful doing it. But the fact that Booker T rolled with it really says a lot about Booker T. Not so much as Sharmell, but Booker T always been that motherfucker that's going to do whatever he got to do to get to the top of that goddamn car. Because his thing is, I'm trying to feed my family. Some things you don't have to do. There are things that were not necessary. You put Sharmell in a position like that, and she was a good sport and rolled with it. I would never want to see another angle like that on TV again. Can you imagine Montez Ford getting in an angle like that with Bianca Belair? Like, give me a fucking break, okay? I side-eye Booker T with this one, because that you were supposed to protect your wife. That wasn't protection. That wasn't protection at all. That was super selfish to put her in a position like that. I'm pretty sure she'll say, you know, I was just, yeah, I know, you're a Hall of Famer, both of you, congratulations, but that was really a bad look on everybody. And Kurt did it because Kurt said he never turned down Vince McMahon, and the fact that this is what Vince McMahon was thinking, that really just, you know, further put more of a bad taste in my mouth than it already has. So I just wanted to touch on that. Nostalgia popped up on my Instagram, and I was like, oh, child, this is a mess. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. I'll get back to you later.